This is Channel 4 News. Hayden Hiner reporting. It is 6 o'clock p.m., October 12th. Up next, an interview with Alexander the Great.
Good evening, this is Sloane Woodcock, and I'm interviewing Alexander the Great, and I'm going to ask him some questions. When were you born, Alexander?
I was born on July 20th, 356 BC in Pella, Macedonia.
Alexander, what was your occupation?
I was king of Macedonia from 336 BC to 325 BC. Then after that, the collapse of the Persian army. Then I became the king of Babylon, king of Asia, king of the 4 quarters of the world.
That's wonderful. What was your education?
My education was that I attended the Temple of Nymphs at Mesa, and there I was tutored by an Aristotle in 340 BC.
Alexander, how did you become king at first?
I became king when I was 19, and that was because my dad died, and I was the determined one to seize the throne that he held, and by any means necessary, I had to do that. The army proclaimed me king and killed all other potential heirs that could have been throned.
What were some nicknames you had?
Some of my nicknames were Alexander the Third, Alexander the Second of Macedon, Alexander the Great, Magus Alexandros, Great Alexander, and the King of Babylon, King of Asia, and finally King of the 4 quarters of the world.
You had quite the nicknames.
Great friends, great nicknames.
What were your parents' names?
My parents' names, well, my dad was known as King Philip II of Macedon, and my mother was Queen Olympia.
What happened in 328 BC, Alex?
Well, in 328 BC, I defeated King Porus's armies in northern India. And then I found myself impressed by Porus, so I reinstated him as king and won his loyalty and forgiveness. I forged eastward to the Ganges, but I headed back when his armies refused to advance any farther. On my way back along the Indus, I was wounded by the Mali warriors.
What occurred in 325 BC?
In 325, after I had recovered, and my army and I headed north along the rugged Persian Gulf, where many fell to prey illnesses, death, and injury. In February 324 BC, I at last reached the city of Susa, desperate to retain my leadership and recruit more soldiers. I tried to connect Persian nobles to the Macedonians in order to create a ruling class. To this end, at Susa, I commanded that a large number of Macedonians marry Persian princesses. After I managed to recruit tens of thousands of Persian soldiers into my army, I dismissed many of his existing Macedonian soldiers. This enraged the soldiers, who spoke critically of my new troops and condemned me for adopting Persian customs and manners. I appeased the Macedonian soldiers by killing 13 Persian military leaders. The Thanksgiving feast at Susa, which had been geared towards solidifying the bond between Persians and Macedonians, shaped up to be quite the opposite.
What occurred in 334 BC?
In 334 BC, I embarked on my Asiatic expedition, arriving in Troy that spring. I then faced Persian King Darius III's army near the Ganges River. Darius's forces were swiftly defeated. By fall, I and my army had made it across the southern coast of the Asia Minor to Gordium, where they took the winter to rest. In the summer of 333, the troops of I and Darius once again went head-to-head in battle at Issues. Although my army was outnumbered, I used my flair for military strategy to create formations that defeated the Persians again and caused Darius to flee. In November of 333, I declared myself the king of Persia after capturing Darius and making him a fugitive.
Breaking news. Alexander the Great has died since the recording of the interview. The date was June 13th, 323 BC. He was only 32 years old. He died of malaria in Babylon, Persia. Truly a travesty what has happened. Very, very sad. Thank you for watching the news report this fine evening. And remember, stay classy, Mr. Kosteka.